There we go. Get a little more light in here. Back in the spooky car again. That looks like something out of Deep Blue Sea. Ooh. Then again, the movie was kind of like that, with all this weird lighting and stuff. There we go. Finally! It's been like almost 2 months. I see this damn thing. Can you see it? There you go. There we are. Finally. This and The Disaster Artist. Man, I've been dying to see this movie, and I finally did see it. Okay, so first off, as mentioned, there were 2 movies I wanted to see over the holiday season, and I didn't get the chance to see them. One I eventually did, but you probably already saw the video for that if I haven't posted before this one. Which will probably get posted tonight, actually, just for time's sake. Man, where do I begin? Okay, so this movie was being promoted a lot. I saw trailers and stuff online. I really wanted to... Sorry, a little bug by the light here. Maybe yeah, it was like that. Maybe just, yeah, something like that, yeah. This will do. I'm gonna get bugged by that thing. Sorry, I'm very technical. Because I don't want to look like Fan of the Opera or anything, so... I don't want to kill the car battery either. So, okay. I so badly wanted to see this one and The Disaster Artist. And, that never happened. That sadly never happened. And it was because the local theaters that were in my area did not show any of those 2. Because I guess they were too busy showing, I don't know, some big space epic movie with Mark Hamill in it. They were making a big deal about that. And there was some Pixar movie which I never saw, which made people a little teary-eyed. I didn't see that movie, but I did see the... Okay, you know I'm yanking your chain here. I guess it's a case where there's certain movies, certain theaters will get, distribution and stuff, and it really sucks when that happens. It happened to me before with The World's End. They played it down at this theater in Leominster, where I am right now, and they didn't play it over in the other one, which is like a minute from where I am. I just like the conveniency of being like literally a minute away, because I'm close to the area and stuff. I don't have to drive like 20 minutes away from where I am. But you do what you gotta do to see the things you want to see. At least I don't have to drive all the way to Boston. So this is Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water. I was the only one in there. It's Wednesday night. I guess people are at home watching like 911 on the Fox channel, or The Assassination of Giovanni, which is actually a pretty good series so far, by the way. I think it's like season 2 of American Crime Story. Could be right or wrong. This movie, my goodness, I don't know where to begin. Chances are if I didn't see this one, War for the Planet of the Apes would have been the best movie of the year. I'm just... Again, early thoughts. I'm just going to throw it out there right now. I think this was the best movie of 2017. It's visually stunning. The plot is simple, but yet it's very compelling. It all comes together. There's little things here and there that are set up early on. They come back later and they connect. The special effects, for what they are, for like I think this movie was made for like $19 million. It's a relatively low budget. But my God, they're worth it. If you look at this movie, you'd swear this was made for like $80 million or even more than that. No. Guillermo del Toro knows how to spend wisely. And this has been getting a lot of Oscar buzz. I think I got like maybe 13 nominations last I checked, including Best Picture. If this wins Best Picture, my God, I'm going to be very floored, because rarely does like a fantasy science fiction movie win Best Picture. I can tell this is a very sincere movie Del Toro created. Whenever he does these kinds of movies, the first thing he does, and this is actually very smart nowadays, he makes the monster be the human. He really knows how to play up the creature as being the more sympathetic character. And I think I like movies like that more often, because you sort of wonder, what is it like to have these creatures be very human or personified? What if they had a soul or a heart? And I love stories like that. I'm a dead sucker for that kind of stuff. If you make the creature the villain, I always, see it. There kind of sort of has to be like a leeway or a motive. It just can't be, creature on the loose. But I'm still okay with those kinds of movies. Again, stuff like Frankenstein or Creature from the Black Lagoon, which this is clearly taking a lot of influence from. Well, which is kind of weird because I thought this was a remake of Creature from the Black Lagoon secretly. It's actually more of a remake of Revenge of the Creature, only minus the last third where like the Gill Man goes on a rampage and destroys some of like Florida's beaches and everything. A lot more interesting too. No, this is beautifully shot. It's well acted. I really don't know what to say. This is great. 2 years ago, there was a book that I wrote, which has yet to be published. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, if I've complained too many about this times. This probably won't be the last time you hear about it. I'm thinking of self-publishing it this year. Crossing fingers. And I always thought it'd be interesting to kind of have, like, the creature be the more human approach, be the more sympathetic thing. Why is it being isolated? Why is it, in this kind of stasis? And I think here, you can definitely sympathize with the monster quite a lot. It's beautifully designed, and yet mysteriously beastly at the same time. Doug Jones does a lot of the suit performance. The only thing that did bug me a little is that you could tell there was some CGI in spots, like when the eyelids close, which is like, okay, I can kind of see why. Because you probably have to put, like, more rotors and stuff to make the eyes click or whatever. But at the same time, I didn't mind that too much, because you could definitely still tell Doug Jones was giving it his all. I think he's the Andy Serkis of, like, animatronic suit performances, or in this case, creature makeup. He was the fawn in Pan's Labyrinth, and he was also Mac Tonight, which is kind of awesome. You can definitely tell Del Toro put a lot of his heart and soul into this picture. I have not seen Crimson Tide, but I have seen Hellboy and Pan's Labyrinth, and it's clear that he has a great love and appreciation for monsters, especially when they're like this. And we resonate a lot of that to the Eliza character, the mute janitor who works for this underground facility that's examining this creature and testing this monster. And it's so cleverly set during the Cold War, because there's so much tension going on. You have the American side that wants to open up and dissect it and everything, and the Russian side that sort of wants to observe it and thinks it'd be used for greater means, and then, spoiler alert, they go the other direction and say, nah, creature too dangerous. Nope. I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't want to ruin it. And I like how the character Eliza gets in the middle of all this, and you really see this understanding and relationship with the creature, and she has a passion and knowledge and understanding. It's just great the way they set it up, not just from the first meet, but even the way they communicate and show how much she really loves and appreciates this this creature. I don't want to call it a thing. It'd be wrong to call it a thing or an it. I can't call it Gillman either, because there's already a name for the Gillman, and Gillman would be mad at me for that. And I'm not talking about Regis Philbin's Gillman, but I don't think anyone will get that joke. But no, this is a very sincere and very lovely made movie. Very lovely made. It's funny because when I was walking in, I was talking to, like, the ticket lady, and before the movie, she mentioned, oh yeah, it's a good movie. It's strange, bizarre, weird, but, it's very beautifully done. And there was something I noticed which she didn't, which I thought was actually kind of interesting. That's in the cinematography. There's a green tint that starts for, like, the good, like for first, like, I think, like, maybe half an hour, 40 minutes. And then at one point, one key point, and I don't want to give it away. This is something I found that was interesting and weird at the same time. A certain scene happens, because the Eliza character has a friend who does, like, drawings and stuff for advertising agencies, and he's doing a thing for Jell-O. and the Jello is red. Actually, I can talk a little bit about this because hopefully everyone's seen this movie. It's really good. This is something I've noticed. I hope I'm not the first. You see the Jello's red in like the drawing and everything. When he goes to pitch it to like his boss is all like, no, make the Jello green, make them all happy and stuff. And I don't know if it was me, but the minute he said that line, the green tint in the movie was gone. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's just me and how I notice like these little things and stuff, but it felt so bizarrely fascinating, unless it meant something. Like maybe this is a situation of a different color or things are different here and out, but the minute that scene happened, all the green in the scene just was gone. Other than that, it was just like a selection of reds and teals, and I find that bizarrely fascinating as to why I noticed that. Maybe there's a certain reason for the storytelling and stuff. Speaking of storytelling, this is as much of a visual medium as the reboot Planet of the Apes movies were. I like how the Eliza character... I like how movies these days are like using sign language as a secondary language. Not just some random thing that happens. I think what they're doing today with sign language is so clever and so well done. First, it was the Planet of the Apes reboot movies. I thought they did that really well. I like here in today's world, we're trying to like get that out more open and have that sort of thing and stuff. I think that was actually really clever the way they did that. And the way that she's, there's people around her and they're communicating and saying, what she's saying. I thought that was well done, because it's almost like as if they're trying to read her thoughts, even though we really don't know what her true thoughts are. And then later we get this one sequence where, spoiler, she has like this daydream with the creature, and she's like hoping that the creature will understand her feelings for him, and it's that's one moment that I wouldn't say it took me out, but I think that's one that might take a lot of people out of the picture, unless you've seen musicals like Singing in the Rain. I knew what they were getting at with that sequence, but at the same time, it's like, I think that's going to go over a lot of youngsters' heads. Like, what the hell is she thinking about? Michael Shannon's in this movie, and he's great. He went from Zod to, like, one of the most intimidating villains I've ever seen. He was like Chris McDonald from the Iron Giant if he took steroids. I love how his character is trying to be so upbeat and optimistic, and yet you can tell he has problems, and they're never fully addressed. We don't know if they're marriage problems or psychological problems. They do hint a lot of stuff. Maybe it's the stress of the job and the fact that he has to deal with this kind of monster. It's hinted at really well. I like that. I like how they build him up to be this, really tough, intimidating guy, and at the end, when he becomes an actual threat, I love the way they build that up. I thought that was great. The fact that he's chewing on, like, green apple candy, like it's candy corn and stuff like that. That's just great. I'm just loving that. And there's a scene where he's interrogating, like, the janitors and stuff, and he's so hell-bent on finding out where the creature was taken and stuff. The moments where you can see he's trying not to snap are his best. He's like Gaston from Disney's Beauty and the Beast, the animated one. That's sort of what it reminded me of. The fact that he's holding back all this anger and stuff, and he's taking out this poor defenseless fish monster. I thought that was interesting. I like how it sets stuff up, and yet it pays off later as the movie goes along. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, without ruining it. It's just, it's a movie you gotta see. I really can't explain. It's so fascinatingly bizarre and yet unique. It's an art house movie, but at the same time, it's a very serviceable popcorn film. It's like something you'd pick up from the Criterion, but like it's the strange, unusual one, like Qui-Gon or Throne of Blood, where it's so beautiful to watch, but yet at the same time, you're so fascinated with some of the choices that they do in the cinematography and stuff like that. This was a good movie. This is honestly this is actually the best I've seen last year, unless my mind is overhyping it and stuff. But it's weird because when I do these videos, whenever a movie I see, I'm like, I'm praising it, it's great, it's good. Usually that dies down later, or at least midway through the video. But it's like, this is the kind of movie you gotta rent, you gotta check out when you get the chance. If it's still playing in theaters, it's beautiful to look at in theaters. Especially the opening credits, where she's daydreaming and everything, and you see her floating in water. I thought that was actually kind of interesting. The shots of the lab, it's not a big, grimy kind of lab. It's like Willy Wonka's Area 52. But it's so beautiful to look at. There's all these tubes and everything, and these vaults and stuff. I loved it. I really love this movie. I love this kind of stuff. It's like last year with Kubo and the Two Strings, when the movie is so beautifully, visually done, and yet when everything clicks together, and even when you don't mind some of like the small cliches, you realize that even if it's doing these cliches and throwing these small ones in there, there's bigger ones around the corner. Like, this is how impacting the film is. I actually wanted to see those two get together, the fish monster and Eliza, because they communicate so well and stuff, and the fact that she, you know, it teaches them like little bits of sign language to keep communicating stuff, because even he can't talk. I thought that was interesting. The fact that he has to live a certain amount of time in water and this specialized salt and stuff, and there's this Russian spy that's trying to help him out and stuff. I cared about that guy, I really did. And how he's really concerned because he's been with this creature for a long time. There's a really good scene midway where Eliza is trying to help, is trying to get the attention of his friend to like break the creature out and stuff, and instead of like having subtitles appear, she says in sign language, you know, read what I'm saying, and as she's signing it, he's reading it, and it's so beautifully done, because you can tell this guy's trying to understand everything, and yet she's like desperate for like, you know, you really gotta help me out here, you're my only chance and stuff. And the fact that he doesn't go with it at first, and then he starts realizing that he's pretty much just as low as she is now. It's like he'll never get a chance to do what he wants, and yet she has one shot, and he's only one shot to help him out. And then you have the breakout scene, which is so intense and so brilliantly done. This is what I meant earlier by how every little thing falls into place. It's probably my favorite sequence in the whole movie. I love heist sequences and how everything, you know, and how every little beat just comes together. You have Michael Shannon getting a new Cadillac, and you're kind of wondering where that's gonna go. And then you have like the artist that's like making all the sketches and stuff so he can make the van less inconspicuous. And when that doesn't work, when they're trying to get into like the facility and everything, something else happens so they can at least get away around that. And there's like little neat payoffs that happen within this one entire sequence, which are just great. Like the setup of the Russian spy who's told to kill the creature instead, and he's given a little vial, and how that's put to use later on. Everything just falls into place, and it's perfect. The only nitpick I do have, this is just a nitpick, Eliza has a friend that she works with, and I feel like they could have done a little more with her character, just a tad little more. It's the only nitpick I have. I think the character is good. I like how they both feel kind of sort of related in a sense, because Eliza's friend is African American, and at the time, well, civil rights, Not gonna get into it. They go there, but it's not like enforced or anything. It's not hammering on the head. It's sort of like a light tap in a sense. And you can kind of feel that the two are sort of together because you have Eliza who literally can't speak up for herself because she's mute. And you have her friend that has the same problems because she doesn't have that many big privileges because of, the things going on at the time and stuff and how they address that. I kind of wish they developed her maybe a tad little more, and it comes into one sequence near the end where it's revealed that she has a husband. And there's a certain sequence that happens where Michael Shannon goes over to interrogate her, and the husband's all like, "Oh yeah, I know all this." It's like, can we just get like more bits of her around the house or something? Maybe there's deleted scenes. I don't know. I just wish that was set up maybe a little better. That's the only thing I have. But other than that, everything else is perfect. It's beautifully shot. It's well told. The special effects are great. The performances are really up there. This is just a great movie. This is definitely great. If I had the opportunity to watch it again, I'd definitely watch it again. I'd make this a double billing with Kubo and the Two Strings. It's that good. If it sounds like I'm overselling it, yeah, I'm probably overselling it. It's such a good movie, and after waiting like almost 2 whole months to see this movie, 2 whole months, I finally see it. It's like, damn, about freaking time. This is just good. It's so good. If I saw this on Christmas Day, oh man, it would have been great. So those are my 2 cents. Just go see it. If it comes out on Redbox, don't hesitate. Really make this your #1 movie night, man. You have no idea what you're missing out on. The only way I can see this not adhesiving to everyone's taste is if you don't like bizarre, surreal stuff where it's trying to be very artsy and all that. It's not too bizarre. It's not like over-the-top artsy in a sense. There's moments where it does go over the top, and I wish I could say what those scenes are without ruining it. But the one I mentioned earlier where the Eliza character has a daydream where she can speak, and it goes in this, small song sequence, but it's all done in her head. Stuff like that, it happens, but at the same time, it's sort of earned. The only moment I can probably think of where it goes maybe a little too far is this one scene where she tries to block up the cracks of the door, and she releases the water so she could swim with the creature. And I think you know what I mean by swim. Oh, God. I hope I didn't give anything away there. And they're living... This is the coolest thing about this. They're living on top of an old-fashioned movie theater from the 60s. It's amazing. And all the water from the bathroom was, leaking and pouring into the theater. And the landlord's like, "What are you doing with all those pipes there?" And Eliza's neighbor or friend, the artist, goes into her room and sees, this is like something out of a freaking Tom and Jerry cartoon. He sees all the water leaking out of the door and opens it. That's the extent of how over the top it gets. Other than that, when you really boil down to it, it's a fantasy movie about a mute girl that feels like an outcast that falls in love with a fish creature. What more do you want, Santa? I just liked this. I really like movies like this, where it's unexpected, it's out there, it's unusual, it's strange. That's why I love Kubo and the Two Strings so much. While it did go in those cliche moments, there was a new twist around the corner, and it still made it interesting, it still made it fascinating. Even if they were predictable, it's oh yeah, I can see how this falls into place. This movie, yeah. I wish we had more of these. I really wish we had more movies like these. Well, not as bizarre over the top. I mean, little movies, simple films, with simple stories, with great visuals and grand eyes, but done on a small scale. I love to see more like that. I love blockbusters. Yeah, I love, big, explosive kind of things, but this was worth it. this is really worth your time. So yeah, if I sit here any longer, I'll probably keep praising this thing for what it is. I think the bottom line really is, check it out. You won't regret it. Hopefully you won't regret it. It might be very out there and strange and bizarre to some, but believe me, when it's a beautifully told story, it's a beautifully told story. If you like stuff like The Dark Crystal or Miyazaki movies or Wolf Children, what's another one that's like really out there? If you like, you know, James Gunn films like Guardians of the Galaxy, or if you want to see like a great throwback to those monster movies of the 50s and 60s, but if the monster had a heart and a soul and he had problems trying to convince that he had a heart and a soul, see this, man. You're freaking missing out. Because life moves really fast. If you stop by the time it comes around the corner, well, you'll miss it. So, that's all I got. And until the next video, have a good night, chaps. See you in the next upload.